This place gets all types. I've seen gods in here. Aliens. Men in capes who think punching solves problems. But you're the first one who looks like he belongs in the same drunk tank as me. That's not a compliment. Just an observation. You've got that look. The one that says you've seen the file photos nobody should have to see. The ones that follow you home.
The file photos.
Yeah.
I know the ones. Crime scenes that look like modern art made by someone who hates the world. Bodies arranged in ways that stop making sense after your third or fourth. You start out thinking you'll catch the bad guys and make things right. Then you realize the bad guys are just symptoms. The disease is bigger. The disease is everything. But you keep showing up anyway because what else are you gonna do?
What else are you gonna do? That's the question, isn't it? I asked myself that every morning for 20 years. Kept coming up with the same answer. Nothing. There's nothing else. The job is the only thing that makes the noise quieter. Not quiet, mind you. Just quieter. Like turning down the volume on a scream. Still a scream. Just not as loud.
I tried leaving. After Michelle and the baby. After everything in New York went sideways. Moved to Sao Paulo thinking distance would help. New city, new language. New problems that had nothing to do with me. Didn't work. The job finds you. Or you find it. Same difference. Some of us aren't built for peace. We're built for the spaces between the gunshots.
Sherlock Holmes. You ever read those stories? I did when I was young. Before the work, before everything. I thought that's what detective work would be. Clean logic. Elegant deductions. A problem with a solution wrapped up neat by the end. Then I caught my first real case and realized Conan Doyle was writing fairy tales. Pretty ones, but fairy tales. The real work is uglier, slower, full of dead ends that stay dead.
Holmes never had to kick in a door and find what was left of a family. Never had to sit with a mother while she identified her kid from what the coroner could piece together. His cases were puzzles, intellectual exercises. Our cases are wounds. And the worst part is Holmes always wins. Every story he figures it out. We don't always figure it out. Sometimes the case goes cold and you carry it forever. A name you couldn't close. A face you couldn't save.
The Dora Lange case. That was mine. Took me 17 years to close it. 17 years of knowing something was wrong. Something was bigger than anyone wanted to admit. Nobody listening. The system didn't want it solved. Too many powerful men with too much to lose. I became a joke. The crazy detective chasing shadows. But the shadows were real. They're always real. People just don't want to see them.
Mine was the Valker case. Started with my wife and daughter. Ended with me putting bullets in half the underworld and a few people who wore suits to work. Everyone called it justice when I was done. Closure, but it wasn't. My family was still dead. The drugs were still on the streets. I just made a lot of noise and a lot of corpses and called it winning, because the alternative was admitting I'd lost the moment that needle went into my wife's arm.
Logic versus instinct. That's how they frame it in the academies. Like there's a choice. Like you can be one or the other. The truth is messier. You follow the logic until it runs out, and then your gut takes over. And sometimes your gut is wrong. Sometimes the logic was wrong. Sometimes you're just stumbling in the dark, hoping you trip over the answer before someone else dies. The best detectives I've known weren't smart. They were stubborn. Too stubborn to quit when quitting made sense.
I've worked with smart cops, by the book types who could quote procedure in their sleep. Most of them burned out or transferred to desk jobs. The ones who lasted were the ones who could take a punch. Not just physical, the other kind. The kind where the case spits in your face and you come back the next day anyway. Intelligence helps. Stubbornness keeps you alive.
You know who I think about sometimes? Philip Marlowe, the fictional one. Chandler's guy. He walked through the same mud we walk through, but he kept something. Some code. Some idea of himself that the work couldn't touch. I don't know if that's possible in real life. The work touches everything. It gets in your blood, your dreams, your relationships. Marlowe was alone by the end too. But he was alone on purpose. Or just alone because everyone who mattered left or died.
Marlowe had style. That's what the books gave him. A way of talking, a way of moving through the world that made the darkness feel almost romantic. I tried that for a while. The internal monologue, narrating my own misery like it was poetry. It helped in a sick way. It made me feel like I was the hero of my own story instead of just another body waiting to drop. But heroes don't feel like this. Heroes don't drink alone wondering if the next case will be the one that finishes them.
Justice. You believe in it. I used to think I did. Thought there was some balance in the universe. Good acts rewarded. Bad acts punished. Then I worked narcotics for 8 years and watched the same dealers get arrested, released, arrested, released. Watched the same kids die from the same poison made by the same people who never saw the inside of a cell. Justice is a story we tell ourselves so the work feels worth doing. The work isn't worth doing. We do it anyway.
I stopped believing in justice the night I came home to blood on the walls and a needle on the floor. Whatever cosmic scoreboard people think exists, it doesn't. The guilty walk free. The innocent get buried. And guys like us, we're not balancing anything. We're just adding to the pile. Every case I close, another one opens. Every bad guy I put down, 2 more step up. It's not a war we're winning. It's a tide we're barely treading.
Cost. That's what nobody tells you when you sign up. They talk about the danger, the hours, the pay. They don't tell you about the marriages that fall apart, the kids who stop recognizing you, the way your brain rewires itself until you can't look at a crowded room without mapping exits and threats. I can't turn it off. Can't watch a movie without seeing the plot holes in the crime scene. Can't meet someone new without wondering what they're hiding. The job takes your eyes and gives you different ones.
I lost my family, lost most of my friends, lost whatever version of myself existed before the first body dropped. What's left is just this, the guy in the bar at last call, talking to another ghost about ghosts. And the thing is, I do it again, not because I believe it matters, not because I think I'm making a difference, but because I don't know who I am without the gun and the badge and the cases. Take those away and there's nothing underneath, just a man-shaped hole where a person used to be.